So if there was like three, just kind of narrow down to three lessons if someone was going to look at manufacturing overseas, what are the three things that you would tell someone and kind of like what you learned?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I run into when I talk to people, just don't be afraid. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's a different country, and we're not used to that as Americans.
Yeah.
America's huge, so we don't have to think about that.
Yeah.
But we live on the earth, and there are lots of other countries here,
Yeah.
and people just like you and me are doing things there. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just place the order in China. They're well-established financial
take a risk,
technologies.
just like everything else.
Yeah.
If you quit your job and go do a startup, that's taking a risk.
Right.
So it's the same risk almost. You just have to weigh the balance.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to be afraid of. Go ahead and, don't be afraid of working overseas. I would say that would be the first one.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, another one. Yeah, translate. Even if you're talking to someone that speaks English, like technical stuff, write it 3 times in 3 different ways. Like,
that's a good idea.
Painfully exhausting. And anything physical, like, go for that. They're really good at copying but not inventing.
Yeah.
Right? It's like kind of a stereotype, but it's totally true. And they'll do the most ridiculous stuff. I mean, I'm generalizing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But in my experience, the generalization's okay with Chinese factories. And, you can't trust them to figure anything out or to do anything the way you would want it done or high quality.
Yeah.
Because they're going to cut costs wherever they can. So you send them exactly what you want, and then make sure do not do a production run until you have a sample, right? Even if it's something simple.
Yeah.
Like, make sure you have a sample that you verify. So that'd be number 2.
Yeah.
And then number 3, I think, having someone over there is critical. So
Find an ally.
And there are lots of really hungry young entrepreneurs in China.
Lots of
millions, right, of trade agents that are willing to work with you. How you find one that doesn't screw you, honestly, I don't really know. Like, we got lucky finding Ben. Just try.
Interesting. Yeah.
There's a website called Alibaba.com.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yeah.
That's where we find all of our manufacturers. That's where they find them in China. When I go over there and work with Ben, we'll go on Alibaba and we'll be sitting in his office in Ningbo and say we're looking for a component for one of our new products. We find a list of them on Alibaba, we see the ones that are close by, and we get in his car and just start driving around to the factories. All the factories there are kind of cool. They're all very similar. Most of them are very similar. There's some really large ones like Foxconn.
Yeah.
But besides that, when you drive down a typical street in a Chinese factory village, there are these big concrete buildings, maybe 4 stories tall, big square things, no decoration on them, maybe a logo, and they all have a gate in front of them. And it's this like traditional thing, but there are all these, I can't really describe how they look, but they all the exact same like style of gate in front of them. And actually, what's interesting about the gate thing, the way that they don't say someone went out of business, they say their gate has closed. It's like it's got to be like a Chinese traditional thing,
That's
but
so
you can always tell it's a factory because they got the specific gate in front of them. The gate has closed when they would go down.
Oh my gosh!
So anyway, they all this very distinctive smell, and you can smell it at Costco or some of the retail stores that have boxes. Like Costco's got pallets that went right out of the container to the store.
And what kind of smell? How would you describe that?
It's kind of a dusty. It's not necessarily bad, but it's definitely like a dusty, maybe it's like a specific kind of clay or the particulates in there. Maybe it's like some metal shavings in there with the dust. When you get off the plane there, especially in Shanghai, Beijing's worse, but just oppressive smog. And in Beijing, it smelled like burnt plastic when I got there the first time. Yeah, just everywhere smelled like burnt plastic.